Is this stream like PG-13?
Oh, good question.
I need to know. Really difficult for me.
You don't say the name of the movie either, because we'll get a copyright strike for sure.
Oh yeah. Let's actually not talk about the movie at all. I'm a little afraid that if we just like talk about the contents of the movie, might get in trouble. Great start. All you hear is me drinking this Dr. Pepper can.
To go live.
Just housing a Dr. P.
Is not doing much. Oh. Tapped unmute.
I love these little guys. They're my favorite.
Oh, a little like airplane Dr. Peppers?
Yeah.
So
it's just like perfect. It's exactly how much I want. It's like perfect.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna add my voice to the thing. Let's see where we're at.
I hear us and we sound good.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on a second.
Do we have to watch? I want to see it. I don't want to see somebody kill them.
I'd like to watch.
You're back. Jesse, are you in a new position of your room? Like, this is like a new setup.
Yes. So, brand new man. Well, so I've got this makeshift sort of like VO booth that I would use in my old apartment. And I set it up in a more temporary situation here, but I finally got around to making it like more permanent, and I found a good spot for it.
Jordan Audio, we're gonna make it mono. Okay, so now I'm talking. Now let's see what we're working with here. I think you guys are fine. It's really just shit, that's not us.
So, what are your decorations? You have an elephant. You have you have the bathroom from Twin Peaks.
What? I've actually never watched Twin Peaks.
Are you kidding me?
Neither have I.
Why do you have like why do you have black chevron and a red frame then?
This thing? I got this at a thrift store. Is this a thing from?
I need to send you something.
I think we all sound pretty good.
All right.
Nice.
There is a very famous scene from Twin Peaks. Maybe arguably
if we're like
the most famous
behind each other.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, so I took the DVR off, which is to say nobody can rewind it yet. So, maybe we'll just let it go public at 1, and we'll see if anybody joins at all. And
I'm also recording my audio in GarageBand.
I'm not, because I'm stressed out. So we're just going to, as the Lord wills it, let today happen. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Well, I just sent you guys a picture of the Red Room from Twin Peaks.
From 50 Shades?
Yeah, from 50 Shades.
I love that film.
We're going to do that one next, right?
Oh, I mean,
I've seen the Red Room. I never noticed the floor, though.
I mean, like, the black chevron pattern is a big thing. Like, the bathroom in the school in Twin Peaks is like chevron pattern. It's all crazy.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to make us live now.
Okay.
So we can just,
you recognize this, right, Alec?
We can sit here and we can shoot the poop. You ready?
Breeze.
3, 2... I mean, I don't know if we're actually live, but it says that we might be. So I'm just going to...
Okay.
We're just going to sit here. We're just going to stew in it. See if anybody else joins this thing. Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Allie, this is from the this is your astronaut helmet. If you'll recognize it.
That's my astronaut helmet?
Well, when you were an astronaut in that sketch, in that super meta sketch.
No, but I got switched. I ended up taking the role of the patient.
Right. Well, the patient. Oh, no. Yeah, I think the patient is the astronaut. Because the wife comes in bringing your suit.
Okay, we got people watching now. We have actual people.
No way.
Okay. Hey, what's up?
Okay, wait. Jesse and I will shut up about stupid sketch comedy we did 2 years ago.
Hey, how's it going? It's working.
Hi.
Who's in there? I should check this out.
Wait, I want to see what it looks like. Is that unprofessional of me?
It might be, but I'm doing it too.
Wow. Hello, everyone.
Who's there? Do we have?
What's up, Angel?
We got the regulars.
Yazan, Ray, Brian.
Oh my gosh! There's 65 people watching.
Yeah, you're a little early. Cool. You're a little early, but only by like a minute.
We're still in hair and makeup.
Is this a first?
Yeah.
It's not a first. Technically, we did this once before in August, a year and a half ago, and it went very poorly. So I expect.
Oh, good.
I expect something similar.
I love how you always set such a positive tone,
King
Jordan.
Kong. I don't have King Kongs in my car. I'm not gonna grab him. I don't care enough. I'm sorry.
Wait, who's King Kong? Your dog? You left your dog in your car?
He is actually a
freak.
Very
he has
large
his favorite music on.
Gorilla ape type creature who terrorizes New York City at a certain point. We have look, it's my sister. Hey.
Aw. What's
Hi.
up?
Could also be my wife because they have the same name, but it says hi brother. So I'm
Ooh,
assuming...
let's unpack that.
All right, you ready?
Let's unpack
All
that.
right, let's just get going with this thing because we got people here.
No, we don't have to get going.
No, yeah, we're gonna do the thing. I'm gonna roll the intro video. You ready? And that was the end of the video. Great. So we're starting.
Okay.
Welcome to Cracked Movie Club, the show where we do a book club, but for movies which are like books but better. I'm the literally live, lamentably, loquacious lover of saying like and lord of this podcast, Jordan Breeding. And I'm joined by my co-lords, Jesse and Allie. Say hello.
I have an intro today. I'm
Okay, go.
Jesse.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's it. I'm Jesse.
Okay.
You went all out for
Great.
the live.
Thank you. And I am the Lord of the Rings. It's me. I'm the Oscar-winning trilogy.
And today,
Thank you.
we watched Contact, the 1997 film, because Allie told us to, and Jesse is going to recap it for us, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Well, I actually didn't watch this one, so just based on the the film poster. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. It's Contact. It is based on a Carl Sagan novel. It was a novel, but he originally wrote it as a screenplay. But then it was taking too long to actually get made, and he's like, screw this, I'm going to make a novel. So,
is that true? That's kind of badass.
Yeah, it's he was a cool guy. I've heard good things about him.
I mean, because writing a novel is not easy. So the idea that he was just like, whatever, I have some extra time, I'll just fucking turn this into a novel then, is kind of wild.
Do we make it 30 seconds before you said a swear? We're going to get demonetized.
Now we need a swear jar because the monetization hinges on not saying curses.
I'm really sorry. I genuinely, and I really mean this, I work with children professionally throughout the week. All I do is work with kids, and all I do is talk to children. And so the minute that I'm then not talking to children anymore, I'm always like, time for the real me, let her rip. And I just really.
This is where Allie unwinds.
No,
unravels. Really,
it's all good. I think we made it 30 seconds. We're fine. Jesse, continue with this film written by Carl. Sagan.
Yeah. So it went through a bunch of different iterations. What we saw on the screen ended up pretty good. So it starts out with a young girl talking to a bunch of truckers on her CB radio, which is a hobby that her father totally cool with, and encourages her to keep on doing it. She's hearing from people all over the country, and immediately it's established that she likes to explore technology and how far she can literally contact people. She starts asking can I talk to people in Florida? Can I talk to people in China? Can I talk to people in on Mars? And then she gets to, can I talk to my mom? And you find out that her mom is passed, and she's on this spiritual journey to use to almost use technology. She sort of grows up not caring much for religion, but by the end of the movie, religion and technology are melded together. So throughout the course of this, once again, 2.5 hour long movie, she quickly grows up. I loved it. It's just that it's long. So she grows up. She's working at a some sort of satellite array, right? Or I forget where she first starts working. Do you remember?
I don't know, but it was in Mexico or South America.
Yeah. So she's basically, we find out that she's this like promising young astronomer, but she's like foregone all like a conventional career path. Like it's stated, like she refused to work at Harvard because she wanted to sit around and use technology to try and listen for aliens, which she's at first derided for doing. But then she falls in love with Matthew McConaughey and goes on to actually discover, she actually finds the first contact from an alien civilization. So what this alien civilization has done is they've returned the first broadcast that was ever beamed out of Earth. And it turns out it was a speech that Hitler gave at the Olympics, which is a confusing way to shoehorn in some weird Nazi stuff.
I know when they like zoomed in and enhanced on the Nazi symbol or the swastika, I was like, oh, this movie's about to take a pretty wild turn.
I know, though. It takes so many weird turns. That's why I like it. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Go.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, she receives the first contact. They figure out how to like translate the weird signal that they're getting into a message, and they find all these like hidden Easter eggs sort of within this message from the alien race. And so the rest of the movie, they're trying to put together this puzzle, which literally involves putting together a gigantic structure that will ostensibly send a single space person out to the star Vega.
A space person. The technical
space person.
Yeah.
An astronaut of some sort. And so anyway, so they create this they create this machine using blueprints that the aliens had sent them. They ultimately, Ellie, Jodie Foster, gets sent, goes and meets a star, I guess. I guess we can talk about that.
I have a lot of thoughts on
who she actually talks to.
Particular part.
So she gets beamed out. She like shoots through all these wormholes. They think it's going to take her like 40 years or something like that. But instead, it turns out that she actually never left. As far as the humans on Earth are concerned, it looks like this machine just sort of blipped. She just fell right to the bottom of it, and nothing ever happened. But she had this like 18-hour-long experience of shooting through wormholes and meeting a star and stuff. And so the last little bit of the movie is dedicated to like talking about like equating faith in God to faith in science, and aren't they really just the same at the end of the day? Is sort of the message.
Yep, and that's pretty much it as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Allie, why did you want us to watch this movie of all movies?
Okay. So I remember watching this movie probably on television when I was like 12, 13. And I like very vividly remember everything from the building the machine onwards, like the wormhole stuff and the coming home and the like testifying in front of Congress. I remember all that perfectly. And then they put Contact on HBO Max not all that long ago. And I was like, I think I liked this movie when I was a kid. I think I remember being like really into this. Then rewatched it and was like, this movie's a journey. It's like it's a real like interesting exploration of like the like writing principle of like of this is true, what else is true. Like I really enjoy that this movie follows that in a way that like I don't think a ton of movies do. Like I think a lot of movies can fall into the trap of like you get stuck on one bureaucratic problem for a really long time, and then we have the solution, and then we have the resolution. And this movie has like ups, downs, sideways, underneath.
To your
loop-de-loop.
To your point on that, actually, because I know you're going to compare this to Interstellar a little bit, and I think one of the best things that Christopher Nolan does is, okay, so if time moves backwards, what does that mean? And he builds set pieces around like, oh, it'd be wacky if you did a car chase. It'd be wacky if you tried to attack people. And I agree with you that I think that's a thing that's missing a lot, that Christopher Nolan, who made Interstellar, which is like this movie, does a really good job of being like, all right, so if we're going to explore wacky planets that are different from ours, let's do 3 crazy planets or more.
Exactly.
And a wormhole.
And like this also has like human, if this is true, what else is true
Right.
beyond just
Yeah,
like also in space, because it's like, what if a alien race that knows nothing about humans sent back a video that in our context is quite ominous and like evil, right? Like we watch that video and we're like, what? And like you get like chills because you're like, are they evil? Are they bad? But like obviously the answer is that in context, it was just the first broadcast that was strong enough to be broadcast that far out in space. So they don't know what they're showing us. They don't know what they're sending back, that they have no way to communicate.
Or is that a
They don't know
convenient
anything about-
excuse?
Oh, well, no, but just like I like love that because then it adds this whole other like political element where like the government's like, okay, yes, is it cool that aliens contacted us? Sure. I can't just tell people that they sent us back a swastika. That's gonna be like that's gonna ruin everything. Like I love that. Like I think that that's so cool that it's like this like the movie is in 2 spheres very realistically, the like real governmental like political sphere, and then also the like Carl Sagan wrote this, so the portrayal of a wormhole is probably pretty accurate based on what we know sphere. And so it's like a fun movie that has some fun twists and turns, but I also feel like it's not too concerned with everything's easy on Earth so we can get to space faster, let's hurry it up. And it's also not like space was amazing. It was totally perfect. There's no consequences for what happened on Earth. It's all just like great that it all happened.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, there a lot of drama where when the stakes get really high for humanity, these things that are just sort of like quiet debates really come to a head between, say, science versus religion that, that turned violent ultimately. Like reckoning with our history and how it looks in context and all that kind of stuff. It was more than just like, wouldn't that be funny if like aliens saw our Nazi stuff? It was like, here's what would happen if they shot it back to us today and we had to reckon with
like,
it.
what would that mean for what we need to do? Because like Jodie Foster's character is just so enthralled that we've made contact because that's her whole point in life. Because she's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, just tell everybody and let's go figure it out. And like everybody else is like, we kind of actually can't do that because people will freak. Like people will freak out about the existence of aliens. People will freak out about the message we received. Like I just like, I like that there's so consequence is such a huge part of the movie. And like, I feel like often with space movies, the whole point is getting to space. And so anything that happens pre getting to space is just kind of BS. And this movie is like, no, it's going to be really hard. There's going to be a whole selection process on who gets to go. People are going to feel different ways about it. Some people are going to get into like weird cults that are like, the vegans are coming to save us. And other people are going to be like, there are Nazis in space. And it's like, it's all very real life on the way to the insane space stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi movie that's really more about like the human condition rather than like wacky technology.
Well, the whole thing, I mean, I would argue that the whole thing is space is just sort of an arbitrary construct around to argue, okay, what is the intersection of science and faith? And if anything, it lands a lot harder on faith being important, which I think is a really interesting, particularly knowing that Carl Sagan wrote the source material for this. And I think it's really interesting to that effect. And I don't know how I feel about it. I will say, just from a guy that looks at plot holes all the time, why in the world would aliens build that as a way to make contact? Like a whole arbitrary...
It worked.
It did, but then it's her dad. And now it's like, okay, he's like, I'm not technically your dad. I'm an alien pretending to be your dad. Also, kiss, let me rub your face.
Yeah, but also you have your mom's hands, which I know as your fake dad.
Yeah. I have to say, like, as much as I love... I really love this movie. Unironically love this movie. The weirdest part of the movie is her meeting the alien. Because it's like, I don't mind that he's like, hey, I'm not really your dad, but I like need to do something that your brain will comprehend. And this felt like an appropriate vessel because I knew you would pay attention to me and take me seriously.
Yeah.
Cool.
I knew you
But
wouldn't
then
freak
the whole
out if you saw
thing-
your dead dad.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing,
the whole
though.
thing with the like hands and stuff and the caressing, yeah, that I don't really have anything
Well, I was
positive to
just
say
gonna
about that.
say, to be her dead dad, they have all of her memories. They remember her as a kid saying, "I wonder if we could go far enough out in space where we find mom." She's gonna. What a way to make you think that you're in heaven or you're tripping or something, as opposed to like, hey, it's Matthew McConaughey's there, and he's like, I exist on Earth, but like I'm in a human form right now, and just so you know, I have all your memories, as opposed to like, I'm something that you can literally only experience if you are losing your freaking mind. It's your dad
Yeah.
in the flesh. He's like, no, but I'm an alien. And then also to just to make it all like, all right, you're gonna go back. Good luck explaining all of this. It's just very odd.
But they said they've been doing that for centuries. That's how it goes.
Centuries,
That's
millions
the
of
rule.
years.
Yeah. It's really interesting, and I think it's funny because I almost feel like it's subverted a little bit, because the whole thing is that she's wearing a camera or whatever that records everything, and she gets back and they're like, oh, it's nothing but static, so you have no proof. And they're like, yeah, but it's 18 hours worth of static. And I was like, so they do have definitive proof. There's nothing to argue. How could she
Kind
possibly
of.
have gotten 18? I mean, the specifics of her dead dad licking her face or whatever could be debatable. Which, by the way, maybe that's a title. We're going to ask, by the way, for all the people.
yeah.
I'm just going to realize that you exist occasionally. I might wink at you if you ask
Cool.
and stuff. Live stream people, at the end of this, if you've seen Contact, and even if you're just listening to us talk about Contact, we're going to ask you for alternate titles. And Dead Dad Licks Face or something is now officially in my notes.
Top contender.
In the running.
Yeah.
So
Great, because I don't have any alternate titles. So take it away.
So one thing about that scene, about the scene on the alien, like the space beach or whatever, where she meets the alien.
Space Beach.
So
odd.
Robert Zemeckis said that in an earlier, so for a while he refused to work on this movie. He said he'd read a couple of different versions of the script, and one of them he said he was on board for like 99% of it. And he said in the last few pages, that ending had the aliens descend onto Earth. They were like these angel-like aliens, came down to Earth, and they put on a light show for all the humans. Sounds dumb on paper, but also it was interesting to read that, because as soon as that scene started, they're in the weird alien world. It felt like, my immediate thought was, is this just a projection? Is this just a show that they're putting on for Ellie or whatever? And I literally thought, this looks like a light show. So it's very interesting that even though he hated that aspect, he kept that for the real ending.
Well, I do think that's a better
Yeah.
version. I mean, if his whole thing is he wants to think about faith and this, like, having a human experience that's unexplainable, inexplicable in some ways, but is not unreal just because you can't prove it, although I think that's sort of subverted by it being provable. But like this idea, like Matthew McConaughey had an experience with God, or maybe an alien. That's another weird potential thing, are all of our spiritual experiences aliens that just like to screw with us before they meet us.
I would love that. So I love the idea of ghosts. I'm like very big into ghosts and stuff like that. And I just like the idea that something's screwing with me. I don't know. I don't know why.
Well, good. We could talk about ghosts. I was going to say, I'm about to bust out a Punnett Square of Truth here in a little bit to talk about this. I'm very excited about it because this falls in very in line with a lot of things that I've thought about in the past. And it's just this interesting idea, right? It's this, they literally say at some point, you need to find your own truth, right? Which is a pretty common saying that people have now. However,
do your research.
She says that like to the kid at the end. If the aliens were real and they came to attack Earth, it really doesn't matter what your opinion, your truth is. The whole planet will explode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but is that not true that we would find a way to argue about that?
Oh my God.
Until the minute the planet exploded?
Some people would say that's the rapture and it's a thing.
Right. Well, but that's okay, but he's not saying that as, look at you dumbasses trying to find your own truth. He's saying
he might be saying that. I don't know.
He could be. He's like, the truth is that your dead dad will lick you. What do you want to do about that? No, but I mean, it's basically, I just think it's interesting to use aliens as this idea to talk about truth, specifically faith type truth. Okay, we're gonna make a Punnett square. You guys know what a Punnett square is? Did you guys take biology anytime recently?
Yeah, refresh
Yeah.
me.
So a Punnett square is a way to test. I mean, I'm sure there are a million different ways you can do it, but it's like genes. Basically, it's like, all right, well, if your mom has,
recessive alleles and all that
yeah, if your
such.
mom has blue eyes and your dad
Whoa.
has brown eyes, like here are the chances that you're gonna get whatever. And here's just what I was thinking about with truth. And so this is, I don't know why we're doing this
This
for
is
a
so
movie
exciting. Are you gonna
podcast.
like turn around a Punnett
Oh
square?
yeah, I'm gonna.
I'm so
You're not gonna be able
excited.
to read it.
Yay.
But let.
This is great. I feel like I'm in 10th grade again.
Yeah. So okay, so there's two kinds of truth. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. There is objective truth, which is presumably inherent to the object, right? So grass is green, the sky is blue, whatever. So there's objective truth, and there's also subjective truth, which is to say the way that I feel about a cookie or whatever is true, but it's only true for me. It's this thing that we're talking about right now. It's subjective. It's that. And then there are two ways that you can interact with truth, which are whether it's known or it's unknown.
Okay.
Which is to say, I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And I think those are really kind of the main categories, right? So if you've got an objective, if you've got an objective known, that's a fact, right?
Uh-huh.
Like that's a fact that's identifiable and we all know it. If you have a subjective,
That's like, but those also like within your Punnett square analogy. Some of these things are more powerful than others because, like, for example, if it's like a recessive allele and a dominant one, and it's like capital P, lowercase p, you get the capital P. The lowercase p might not even be there. You have to get two lowercase p's in order for it to be blue eyes or whatever it is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's like in this, like, are certain things more powerful? So that, like, if it's objective, if it's subjective but known, is it stronger than objective?
Well, possibly.
Unknown.
That's kind.
Do you know what I'm
That's
saying?
kind of its own. That's like a whole separate. Yes, I don't know. You could definitely make those arguments too. I think a subjective known is an opinion. So that's like again, and these are inarguable, right? Like I could say the best cookies in the world are my mom's. And you can't like. I mean, you could argue it a little bit or whatever, but like on a certain level, you know, it's not like we're trying to achieve a certain like objective truth. All right, let me keep going. So subjective unknown is a thing that I don't think exists. So and a way that would play out is I say, Allie, which of my mom's dishes is your favorite?
Okay.
Because that would
Casserole.
because that would be an unknown subjective. How can you not know a subjective? Like you may get to that point, you may learn it at some point, but there's not really a categorization of that. And then an objective unknown is faith. So that's what this movie is essentially talking about, which is if aliens exist or they don't exist, my opinion on it right now is faith, right? And my only point being with all of this is to say that when they're talking about aliens, there is a right answer, right? There is an objective. They either exist or they do not exist. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. Anyway, so I just think it's a misclassification to say, hey, kid, do you believe in aliens? Better find your own truth. And the kid's like, I don't know, baby. And it's like, okay, but if they attacked, they are real or they're not real. It's just
that did strike me
it's just
as
an odd way
as
to
a little
look at faith and this stuff, as opposed to saying, what do you believe? Let's go figure it out. It's not your own truth. It's the truth of all of the universe and existence. Anyway.
It's just that, like, I think that the end of the movie is supposed to show that having a whole world torn on believing her very important, life-changing experience hasn't destroyed her.
Sure.
Because, like, I think it could be argued that something like that could destroy a person and that they would like go into hiding and not be in science anymore. Like imagine if the literal most important moment of your life was then televised and people just were like, well, I don't think it happened.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like that would really suck. And so I think that's the point at the end of the movie. I also don't feel it's super in character for her trajectory. She just doesn't seem like a person who would dedicate her life to teaching children. She seems like one, kind of a loner. Like she's like very happy to like put on headphones and sleep in the middle of the desert by herself. And she's also like super obsessed with fact and like being like entirely objective and da 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 da. So she did not seem the kind of person who would be like, "What are stars?" Very good, Tommy.
Yeah.
Like that didn't feel that.
It
Yeah.
does seem like she
I
would
thought-
be
I don't
even crazier, right? Because she's like, I've been there. I can't waste time talking to
it's
children.
not crazier.
I gotta-
Just like more inward and more like I'm gonna make sure I write this down properly
Yeah,
because like I know it's corny. I know it's corny, but I love the line where she says they should have sent a poet.
That's good.
I love that line, and so like I could see her trying to spend the rest of her life trying to the best of her abilities,
Just
as
doing
not a
slam
poet.
poetry jams.
Yeah, you know, doing slam poetry. That's what I was gonna say. That's what I could see her doing.
Yo, the sun
Doing them
is
all.
so bright. Yo, the universe is tight. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Nice. So
Thank
I
you.
thought that my take on her like ending scene where she's like, "What do you think? Like, do you think aliens exist? What do you think?" I thought that was out of character because it's instead of like I think it was meant to like strengthen the idea of faith, but instead I think it just like softened the idea of the scientific method because she's this like hardcore scientist who then by the end is like, "Oh, science is basically the same as religion. So think whatever you want to, little kid." It just
Yeah.
seemed to undermine her whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm always like the teensiest bit aware of like what happens with women in movies because like and I'm saying this literally as a person who teaches children during the week, so you know, take this with a grain of salt, but like she just doesn't seem like that kind of person, and it feels like just the teensiest bit not understanding of women to be like, women love kids. Do women not love kids? You want to show me a woman who doesn't like working with kids? This woman's gonna love working with
I
kids.
think
what
I
you're
don't know.
saying is
I'm always just sort of like, that doesn't seem like her bag, but that's fine. Like, okay.
so Carl Sagan is incapable of passing the Bechdel test.
Yeah, the whole movie is a total failure. No, I'm
Well,
just
I
kidding.
think
I really like it. Like, I also like her character. I know that she's like kind of a character that's a vessel where like things happen
I
to
literally
her,
wrote that down. Yeah.
but she has opinions. She like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's not like, oh, gee, oh, okay, I guess I'll go to space then. Like, you know, she's really holding her own. She has thoughts.
I was gonna say on the women thing. I think the whole love story arc with Matthew McConaughey was so weird because I got that I immediately was like, oh, he's asking her this hard question because he doesn't want to go because he set it up like, you know, you're gonna be there for 50 years. Everybody you love will be dead. And she's like,
he tells her that outright when they're walking around the Washington Monument. He's like, I didn't want you to go because I wanted to kiss you here. And she's like, oh, damn it. And then they kiss.
Well, but I mean, I thought but he also had the talk before where he's like, just so you know, if we send you, everybody you love gonna die. And she's like, yeah, I don't give you. Okay, that affects literally, I don't love anyone. And he's like, no one. And it's just, it is weird that he cares about her. Like, they just interacted so briefly, and then she doesn't call him for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And also, just Matthew McConaughey is like the sex pot Masters of Divinity pastor who just couldn't do the celibacy thing. Is just such a weird role for him.
It's a weird character
Yeah.
in general. I actually would like to read the book to see if there's slightly more there.
I'm sure there is.
So at
Because
one
he's a
point,
strange little man.
at one
Yeah.
point, was it George Miller wanted presumably that character, but George Miller wanted the actual Pope to be a big part of like the central cast of this movie, which I guess means he wanted
George Miller?
Jodie Foster to fuck the Pope. Yeah, I don't know that I don't remember if he ended up actually working on this finished film, but he was one of the people that it like passed through his hands at one
Oh,
point.
wow. Man, they should have
like the Pope and Jodie Foster are going to be walking around the Washington Monument kissing.
We're left to conclude that. Yeah.
The Pope is like, I just couldn't do the celibacy thing anymore once I learned about space. Yeah, that'd be really hot.
Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff that the script went through so many changes, even so Carl Sagan did actually like, he worked on the actual filming. Like he kind of like gave seminars and stuff to the cast and the crew. So he was around. He like died before it came out, but he was around for a lot of it. But the script passed through so many different people, several different mediums. Like I said, it was originally a script, then a book, then 10 more scripts. So I think he actually co-wrote the original script with his wife, or with who became his wife. So there's a lot of storylines that they just injected for the sake of the movie that it seems like he just got sick of objecting to it. He was like, all right, just make the darn movie.
We can swear
Good
now.
catch,
We're
good
well
catch, good
past
catch.
30 seconds. You can say all sorts of swears. Everybody, take your kids off the stream. Jesse and Allie
Why
are
is it
about to
30
go
seconds? Was it just
crazy.
like a warning period, or does YouTube only watch the first 30 seconds?
No, it literally says when I have to go through and do monetization stuff, when it says like inappropriate language, one of the things that's safe for ads is doesn't do hard swears in the title or in the first 30 seconds.
Huh.
So as
Wow,
long as I
I'm
check
sorry.
that box, I mean, usually I get it right and they trust me, but we've had some where YouTube is like, you lied to us.
You lied. Okay, so my guess is that some people are going to be like, I wonder if this is really live. And I'm going to prove,
Just hold up the newspaper.
I'm going to prove definitively that it is, because I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes look of what it's like to record with us like when we're not live, and say that I like really have to go pee.
Oh, wow.
Go for it,
You're gonna
man.
pee right now while we're live?
I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna come back, but give me like 40 seconds.
Well,
I don't blame you, Allie. Honestly, I was thinking about doing the same because I gotta pee. I
We
think
have
I
to
think I'm
stagger.
fine
We
with it.
can't leave Jordan by
wait a minute. You're
himself.
just
Yeah,
gonna go.
exactly.
Fine, I'll talk to the people. I don't care. Go pee, both
Well,
of
no,
you.
okay.
Hey guys.
So here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. When I come back, I want to talk about how this movie's really overscored, and I want to talk
okay.
about like the moments of this movie that should work, that are like undermined by corniness of just like 90s movie making, and I feel like that's very much Jordan's bag. So I'm gonna leave
will
that
say-
to marinate. I'm gonna come back and talk about
Yeah,
that.
one thing to marinate in your piss while you're doing that is
Yeah.
I just want to say I did enjoy this movie. I just had a lot of hot takes that I wanted to get to, but the 90s scoring
That's
is
fun.
another hot take that I don't like. So go ahead and
No, it's a major downfall of an otherwise really fun, really good movie.
Yeah.
Be right back. Told you it was live.
And then
Live
Jesse's gonna
theater.
go
It's so
too. All right, so
crazy.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take some questions from the audience now.
Oh, nice.
Are you gonna go pee as well?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay, cool. Do you have any questions? This is the worst live stream of all time. Okay, yeah, it's me and
I've seen worse.
It's me and you, Cells. Who can squeeze faster? Who can vamp? Or we can vamp? All right, vamp with me.
Who can squeeze faster?
Squeeze
so
your bladder, right?
yeah. So okay, I just remembered another very specific thing that Carl Sagan and his wife like objected to and got it actually removed from a certain version. They wanted to have Ellie be pregnant
Ooh.
and at one point, and then later on actually has the kid. But like another one of these like sub points that they really wanted to drive home was like she wants to contact everybody else in the universe, but you can't make contact with her own son.
Oh,
And Carl
shit.
Sagan was like, I don't know, man. That's not really what I'm going for.
Okay, what mean things did you say about me while I was gone?
We said that you wanted to contact the whole universe, but you can't make contact with your own son.
Yeah. Well, I was saying they almost had a subplot that Jordan would have loved because they were going to try and inject a child into this. And Ellie was going to have a kid and she was going to be a single mom. And one of like the whole takeaway would have been she wants to contact everybody in the universe, but she can't make contact with her own son.
Yeah, that's
Jordan
pretty bad.
I would have cried a lot in that because, you know, anytime we insert a child into a movie, I get a little sad. I was like, oh no, her dad died.
Jordan's got a thing for children in movies, and Allie's got a thing for sexy little codes.
I love when a person has a sexy little code, but I don't think that Matthew McConaughey has a sexy little code in this movie. He's kind of all over the place.
He's very
the little
ambiguous.
code called the Bible.
But does he? He's just like.
But does he? He doesn't seem a very like principled. He kind of is like, I don't know what I think. I guess I think this now, and it's like, okay, I don't know. I'm not into it.
He's like, yeah, I'm wandering around the jungle interviewing freaking scientists that literally nobody could possibly care about. Like, there's no way that anybody's on the edge of their seat. Like, oh, I can't wait to see what Matthew McConaughey is going to get from this random astrophysicist or whatever. To being the White House correspondent to Jesus, that's pretty.
Yeah, how did that happen?
I don't know, but I should try that. As you know,
yeah, You should go find Bill Clinton and see if he's interested.
I was an ordained worship director at a church right before getting this job and having to talk to people who say swears in the first 30 seconds of YouTube streams. So really,
You get to talk to people who swear in the
We're
first
just
30
like
seconds.
your two little wayward children that you have to like find a way to get back on the right path. Like you took us in off the streets.
I have
and
two
you're
of
like,
my own.
these kids don't have any moral
I have
code.
two of my own wayward children with no sexy little code because they're too young.
To develop, to understand what a sex little code
Right.
is. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure a kid will break in here at some point. It's always possible that my.
Oh, that would be exciting.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I think then
I
YouTube
would really
will
enjoy
really
that.
flag us, right? Are we allowed to show children? I don't know. It feels.
The
It's only a
thing-
matter of time before Jordan like choreographs one of those like cute things where like a kid walks in while somebody's interviewing on CNN.
Oh my gosh, my
Oh.
beautiful
Literally
daughter,
reading from a
her
script.
hair's like made up. She's in a dress.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And she's like, I just really wanted to tell you that I love you. And you're like, please, honey, I'm doing a live stream.
Yeah.
And my unprofessional co-host both have to go piss.
Yeah.
Daddy, I made this Punnett square.
Exactly.
Papa, you're doing such good work in the world. You're a good man. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Thank you for
scamp.
teaching me about recessive alleles at such a young age. I'm sure I will hold on to this forever and become a famous scientist like Jodie Foster in the movie Contact.
Right. Oh, full circle. Great. Let's talk about the score because
Yeah. So that's
it's bad.
bad.
Yeah.
It's really like this is obviously something I would have never had a thought of when I was a teenager because like your brain's too busy keeping you alive. But as an adult, when I rewatch this movie, there are so many moments that I think are really great that are so wildly, distractingly overscored. It's like it's such like it's very much a '90s problem. But this movie is like a top offender, I think. No one's responding. Y'all texting
Sorry.
each other?
Dave,
no,
Dave
no, I'm reading
Brown
about
just got
the
in the
soundtrack
chat.
on the Wikipedia.
Y'all texting each other? What's going on?
Gosh, Allie's
no,
saying
I
such
was-
stupid stuff right now.
Truly. Like,
No,
she has to
I'm
go,
trying
I
to-
wrote the score and she's offending me.
No, I was reading about literally just about the soundtrack on the Wikipedia entry because the score didn't even register to me. I'm not sure. So like, what is it about? What rubbed you the wrong way about it?
It's like it's schmaltzy
it-
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Like the intro stuff where it's like the like sensitive piano, but with like a not quite fully there. Like I think one way to describe it is the score could have fit in any dramatic 90s movie ever made. Has nothing to do with space, has nothing to do with any. So like if somebody took the Interstellar soundtrack, which is very dramatic, synthesizer heavy, gives you that vastness and those swelling like crazy sounds, I think this movie would be massively improved. Even just the tension of the Earth scenes and how dire they were. Now, granted, it is a little bit of a different thing to your point, like a huge amount of this movie takes place on Earth. She's actually not in space almost at all. So,
Almost the entire movie. Yeah.
Some don't even think she went at all, but I'm
I'm going to say she was only in space for 0.4 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you know.
she's only getting licked by her dad for like 18 hours.
Oh, wait. Can I say one more thing that I do
Yes.
like? That was another thing I sort of said this when I was pitching this movie last time. I think this movie set the tone and the future for what space and space travel looks like in movies from here on out, from now to come. Like, I think the visual language of Interstellar is there in part because this movie paved the way. And I think it's because like Carl Sagan had something to do with it. And so obviously it's one of those things where like, I don't know what it looks like because I'm an idiot. And also I've never been and I haven't studied it. But sometimes when somebody shows you an image and it just feels real to you because it's based somehow in fact, there's just something that happens where like your BS meter doesn't go off and you're like, I accept this is real. And I think that this movie got into people's brains.
Yeah.
And was like, I accept this is real. Wait, has anybody played the game Outer Wilds?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Mm-mm.
You played Outer Wilds?
The like shooter, the recent one?
It's not a shooter. It's like a space exploration game, and it's like it's a time loop game. You're a little alien in space, and
Oh, I'm
the
thinking
world
of-
end but every 22 minutes you go back and keep doing this loop.
No, I'm thinking of something else. I can't remember what it's called.
Okay. The game's amazing.
Sound
The
off
game's
in the
incredible. I
chat.
can't recommend it more. Well, somebody in the chat's gonna be like, I've played Outer Wilds. Someone, come for me, please, my hero. There's a scene in this where like there's a scene in Outer Wilds where they are chasing something called the Eye of the Universe, and then you finally get there, and it's this insane dramatic ending, and all the wormholes and all the everything in the music. I was like, this is Contact. This is a person who, whether or not they know it, like absorbed Contact and was like, I like space. I'm gonna make things about space forever. Do you know what I'm saying? In an exciting way.
I thought the opening sequence where they zoomed all the way out into eternity and it ultimately into Jodie Foster's eyeball or whatever. It started out me being like, yeah, the CG looks a little dated, but then they like went through I think Uranus probably, to be totally honest. I think
nice, dude.
They went through Uranus?
Yeah, I think they probably went right through my anus, and I was like, now I'm feeling something that I wasn't feeling.
Yeah, Carl Sagan actually, instead of her eye, he wanted the universe to be contained within her anus.
Yeah.
In her anus. Why is it always got to be ambiguous? Gender
yeah,
that anus.
Come on, Carl.
Yeah. Can we do?
What were you gonna say about that
gender
scene?
That anus. I'm gonna write that down as a possible.
So that scene. So Allie, I remember you saying that, and so I was keeping an eye out for times that I thought they picked this one out of here. So that specific big zoom out felt exactly like in Men in Black, which I actually can't remember if it came before or after. Did it come before or after?
It must be before. I remember seeing Men in Black in theaters. Hold on.
Literally
it's a whole thing where if you remember the scene.
1997.
Powerful year.
What a year for space.
Yeah, the whole thing where it's like, the galaxy's contained within this little marble, and wow, look, more marbles. Just like zooming out and really like, very at the time blew my freaking mind.
Yeah.
It's like blew my anus out.
It shit my pants.
Squeezed my bladder and made me have to piss mid live stream.
Excuse me, somebody shit my pants.
Oh yeah, that was a couple of episodes ago. That's fun. What a fun callback.
Think maybe even only one episode ago. Two.
We released technically Burning today on Spotify at 9 a.m. So yeah, cool.
Yeah. So anyway, point is, I like this movie. I think this movie set a tone for future space movies. So if you like space movies, I think regardless of whether or not you like Contact, you gotta like throw up some props for the movie. Because I think like the way that it dealt with human interpersonal conflict, like political Earth conflict, and also the reality of trying to depict something that we may never see in our lifetimes, like has just kind of wormed its way into people's brains.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I did feel a lot of that. I mean, maybe it actually inspired Matthew McConaughey. Maybe he's just been sitting on this. He sat on it for 15 years, and he was like, I want to be in another version. And then when Interstellar came around, he's like, finally, I don't have to be the faith guy. I can be
now I'm gonna go
the science guy.
He gave up. He was like cast as the lead in some other big movie that year, but he like dropped out of that in order to be the weird love interest of this movie.
Wow.
Which I guess it paid off because this movie was a huge hit, but like he doesn't come off. I mean, he was just got done with I forget what his big movie was a year or two before. But this seems like a step down from like Matthew McConaughey leading man to Matthew McConaughey, fuckable Bible guy.
I mean, he was just the rom-com boyfriend for a while, and then like escaped that niche and like went to being back in like leading man roles and like weirdo roles, which is like what he was born to be. He was born to be a weirdo. So it's like I'm so glad that he was able to like escape the Sweet Home Alabama niche and be like, no, I'm a total weirdo, True Detective.
Yeah, True Detective.
This is calling him.
I think Interstellar and True Detective were the first two times I ever cared about anything related to Matthew McConaughey, because even though that's really much later in his career, I had always I was like, oh yeah, the guy from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or whatever, the movie that I didn't see.
Right, exactly. He managed to like get out.
Yeah, good for him. He got out.
Good for him. He got out.
So I'm going to say one other thing that I found interesting, which is there is a ton of shots where things are shown in reflection, or
oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, they do it all the time. There are some of the more typical ones, which are like somebody's running and you realize you actually have been looking at a mirror, and you're like, oh, that's cool, it's a bathroom mirror. But there are other times when they're like, we should call up the scientist in charge, and they call up that dude instead of her, and then he's on the TV and she's sitting there sad. But there are a lot of other instances where, like, yeah, the terrorist guy is looking at her through the reflection on her window, or at the very end of the movie, they're like, Matthew McConaughey's like, I believe in her, and then they roll up the window and the White House is reflected in there or something like that. It's interesting. I was trying to find a through line, like if there's a reason other than, hey, you know what's rad is mirror shots.
Reflection's cool.
It seemed like there was a while where I mean, like bad things were on screens or whatever. Like there were reflections of terrorists or there were reflections of people getting the credit or whatever. But then, it's like, wow, that's how they communicated with us too. I was trying to find if there's like some sort of commentary about the internet or media, but I didn't feel like anything ever quite landed for me to be able to say definitively.
Is there like a through the looking glass kind of thing? Is there, I don't know if there's like more to that comparison. Is this like an Alice in Wonderland story? Like she goes down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Uranus, yeah.
Yeah, she goes down Uranus. That's very possible.
Alice in Uranus.
I was reading about that one
in Uranus hole.
Title.
There's like a lot of YouTube videos about how they executed that mirror shot in Contact, where she's running down the hallway and then she touches the mirror and she opens it and it's like a practical mirror. It's very complicated and really cool and has like a lot to do with keyframing things in and out, and it's excellent. And it's really cool because like you don't realize also how much that also helped pioneer technology for removing cameras from mirrors, which is another thing that I watched quite a bit of behind the scenes on with the movie Black Swan, because so much of that movie takes place in mirrors. It's like all about your mirror image, and even when it isn't strictly about mirror image, it's all these like shots of them dancing in a ballet studio, and you need to like have a full shot of the studio. So obviously the entire set and crew are going to be in the mirror, and they like were able to digitally get them out. Really cool stuff. I'm not going to try and explain it because I'm sure I will do a terrible job. I just think you should YouTube it.
In Black Swan, could they have been on the other side of a one-way mirror, filming into a studio with a mirror on the other side? Is that a thing? Because that's what I would do if I was.
I think it is a thing, but they weren't doing that because there's a lot of shots of them from behind where like, let's say like it's like a shot from behind and like Natalie Portman's here doing like fouettes, and then like in the mirror is like the entire rehearsal room watching her, and we're supposed to be like, oh my God, she's getting her moment, and everyone's paying attention to her. But obviously that means there's cameras here.
Right, but what if that was a like a one-way mirror? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to speculate. Why would I speculate on this? We do nothing but.
I don't know. Just watch it. There's smart people out there who talk about it.
Counterpoint. Now I'm going to counter myself. I think we should all find our own truth, and that's how I think they filmed that scene. And there's really nothing you can do to argue with me,
to prove me that I'm wrong,
even if you have.
Yeah, I mean, like, isn't it like a theme throughout like life that like the person who makes a scientific discovery is always like deemed crazy at first?
It definitely seems that way in recent films, such as Don't Look Up, which people said a lot at the beginning of this stream. And yes, I'm aware that movie
I haven't seen it. But like, I mean, like real life, like not even like the trope of the scientist in the movie. Because like, as we've said, I love the trope of the spunky little scientist in the movie who's like, you gotta listen to me. Like I'm always
the Charlie
looking for the Charlie Day in. Yep, always. But like in history, the guy who invented germs. The guy who like made germs.
I hate that guy.
The guy who like proposed that germs were a thing was this guy named Ignaz Semmelweis, and he was a doctor. And all of his fellow doctors were delivering babies and like cutting women open, and then they would die or they'd get like sepsis or whatever. And so he was like, "Do you think we should wash our hands?" And they're like, "Why? They don't seem dirty." And he's like, "Right, but here's my thought. Like, what if there are particles that could get into people's bodies that are too small for the human eye to see, but nonetheless are there?" And they were like, "Bitch, you crazy." And they sent him to an insane asylum where he died.
Yeah. Right.
Like, that's,
and then like
that happened.
Yeah. And like didn't like Alan Turing, right? Like he died in disgrace.
That has a lot to do with being homosexual. Yeah.
Did he invent that?
After saving.
He invented.
They were like
homosexuality.
crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I think it's pretty cool.
But yeah, you're right. They really did nail that thing where it's like we now know or whatever, we the viewer know that she's not crazy, but like you never really get to put yourself in the shoes of who is your germ guy, Thaddeus something with her bottom.
Ignaz Semmelweis.
Yeah, that guy. So you never think about. I didn't even know the guy's name till just now.
Thaddeus.
You
Well, now
never
you know.
you can never be in Thaddeus's shoes, but we can be in Ellie Kemper's shoes, whatever her name was,
Kemper.
Jodie
Ellie
Foster's shoes.
Kemper.
Actress.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That
that's
was a really
interesting. That's
powerful
another
point
thing that
with,
they
no names correct.
powerful, very powerful.
We're working on power
All right.
here.
You guys got any other points you wanted to hit up?
I had
I
one
don't know.
one interesting thing. The actual device, the actual contraption that they
It was really
build
cool.
was really cool. It was originally designed for Terminator 2 in a
What?
scene that ended up getting cut, but it was a time displacement device in T2.
And they just took it?
Cool.
Pretty much. They're like, we need a sci-fi machine. Who's got
That's
something?
amazing.
I guess somebody's like, I drew this.
But they got it sent through code through aliens.
Oh,
So
it was actually
Yeah,
from
but that
aliens,
actually
yeah.
came
how
from
could that possibly be?
Jeff Bezos. So,
Which also, what this bald
The man in
Yeah.
space.
this
The
bald
bald guy in
billionaire who
space?
lives in space? They called Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos
yeah.
30 years
Well,
early.
he did exist. He was
Yeah.
around. Amazon existed.
But he wasn't bald. He wasn't bald yet, and he was still just
Yeah,
selling
but
books.
he was watching Contact and going, I'm gonna be that little freak.
See, that's
That's me.
Good, fine, Bezos, go ahead, die in space, please.
that's the thing.
You know how like people talk about when you need to see yourself in film, like when representation matters. That's what
Wow.
Bezos experienced in that moment. He was like, "Oh my god, I could be a bald little freak in space,"
Well, that's the thing that's so.
and then he was.
Like, I think really good sci-fi does a great job of predicting the future, and so for one guy to be like, I bet Bezos will be bald in the future, that we will have rich bald people. I just think that's incredible. That's why this film holds up so well, because they predicted that Bezos would
Rich
yeah,
bald people.
would not.
Bezos in 97, like, when was Amazon even founded? If anything, he was still just starting out killing the brick and mortar bookstore. Like, Amazon as we know it definitely didn't exist. There's no way to think that this guy would be a space billionaire
Yeah, I
oligarch.
wonder who their space billionaire that they were referencing. Or maybe they were literally just like, I bet rich people will just. I mean, I guess this is kind of it's becoming more tropey of a thing, but it's like, eventually rich people are going to be like, what sucks? Earth. I'm going to build a space station.
Yeah.
And we're going to call it Elysium, and Matt Damon's going to blow it up, and Jodie Foster's going to be on it.
And also, living in the International Space Station can stave off cancer. Just if you ever need to.
Well, not
Yeah.
forever.
Cancer.
Just up until you need to account for a possible acid trip into space.
Yeah,
Then
I
see
do actually like that shot of them slowly zipping up
Zip.
the body
Yeah.
bag. That was kind of chilling. I
I
liked
would
that.
love to see him being slowly pushed out the airlock or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. That was
Just somebody
Get
absolutely in
wrecked
his
by a
will.
satellite.
Shoving him down the toilet.
Absolutely, he was like, and jettison me into space, lads. And they were like, okay, Jeff. And then they sent him
Yeah.
away.
That's I will just to your point earlier. His character is one of the only kind of bummer things about the movie as it relates to her character, which is very like she never gets to choose almost anything. She's just like, I want to look for aliens more, and everyone's like, no, and then rich guy's like, fine. Or she's like, I want to go to space, and they're like, no, and then the terrorist is like, well, I'll kill the people in your way. It's just a little bit like she doesn't create enough of her own forward momentum. She does some. Obviously, she finds the live stream in the desert, but there's just not enough. I wish she did more convincing of people and less taking advantage of terrorists and rich people doing things they were already going to do.
Were you shocked by the terrorist attempt, or did you see it coming?
Well,
I didn't see it coming.
Like,
And by attempt, I mean success. I mean, like he absolutely did what he came
That's
to
straight
do.
up. That's Gary Busey, by the way. I thought it was like just some other guy with weird teeth. That's Gary.
There's only one guy with weird teeth.
and it was the
world.
one.
That's
Yeah.
him.
I knew that this guy was not going to go to space. I didn't think that a terrorist was going to blow him up. I also wrote down in my notes.
And the whole
Yeah.
thing, like the fact that the whole thing gets absolutely tanked,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a bold little
Well,
step for a narrative piece to be like the whole thing's gone. All that money, the like 30,000, what was it, like $300 billion or something insane?
they
like,
Oh, but don't
secretly
worry, we've
built
got
a
this other
second.
machina that
Yeah.
we can yoink a dais out of.
It's a little goofy to be like, it's the end of all things. I'm just kidding. We literally have one right over there.
yeah, but that was Jeff Bezos'
Yeah.
problem.
Well, I do think it's funny. They kept mentioning they're like, this is so expensive. It's a third of $1 trillion. I was like, I mean, that's like what, like 3 stealth bombers now? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I'm sure it's expensive in 1997 money, but like, and yeah, I was like, that guy seems a little old. Like the only guy that you're gonna send to space is like in his 50s. Like, what if he has a heart attack? You should be sending
That was
some.
kind of the point, though, that he was like, I've lived a great life. I'm fine to go. Whereas, like, the other guy was like, my family begged me and I can't leave now. Do you know what I'm
Sure,
talking about?
but also with her, they're like, are you having a heart attack? Are you having a heart attack? Are you scared? Are you having a heart attack? And she's like, not having a heart attack, not having a heart attack. So to think that they would send a much older dude, I just feel like,
Sorry if you hear the loudest sirens in the world.
are they finally
New
catch
York
up to you?
City. Yeah, they knew I cursed in the first 30 seconds
They
of the live
said
stream, and they've
The
come.
YouTube cops.
They're here.
All right.
So that wasn't Gary Busey, that was Jake Busey. Thank you to Ray
there
in
you
the
go.
comments.
That's his son. You idiot.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Um,
Unless you're leading me astray, Ray.
yeah,
Don't do that.
Yeah, he could be making you look stupid.
he probably is.
Good luck.
All right.
I think those are all my main points for the movie. I would say you should watch Contact, and I would say you should play Outer Wilds. Those are my 2 thoughts. I only have 2 thoughts in my brain, and those are my 2. That's
yeah,
it.
those are solid thoughts. I wish I could think of what the heck the name of the game that I did play was. I swear it was Outer Wilds.
Super Mario Galaxy.
There is a name that's called Outer
Oh, it's
something,
called Outwild.
and it's like Outer.
Outwild. Is it? Damn it.
I don't know. Outer Wilds was like very highly regarded and like won a ton of awards and stuff. So I swear I'm not just like pulling some random thing out of my butt and being like, I swear it's great.
Oh, Christian, giving us $10. Heck yeah.
Oh,
Thank you so
Christian.
much.
Nice, thank
the
you.
title of this video will be whatever you
Yeah.
say.
Okay, Christian.
It's all curse words.
Let's transition right now. We're gonna do titles. We're gonna do alt titles, and Christian,
Nice.
his answer or her answer is very, very weighted. So what do you got? What do you got? Oh, let's just go until we see what they say. I have waste of
Yeah, throw out some
I have
titles.
waste of space because they say that like 10 times.
Good.
I have two-hand touch as the alternate to contact, like contact football, and there's two-hand touch football because she gets touched a lot by her dad. There's now dad licks my face, gender that anus, DM from space, Alice in your anus hole. So all of those are probably not as strong.
Jesse, whose infinite playlist do we have this
Matthew
time?
McConaughey and freaking Jodie Foster, of course.
Oh, that's a good idea. You guys are full of good ideas.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, baby.
I'm trying to think of a Bussy joke with Gary Busey, but I can't think of one.
Oh,
so how
boy.
about
I could see you were deep in thought over there.
I'm
3,
pulling
2,
out my
1,
thesaurus.
contact
So
in space, says Christian.
nice.
Thank you,
Love it.
3,
Christian.
2, 1, contact.
Okay, here's a good one. What happens in Vega?
Ooh.
Oh, I really like that. I'm not being sarcastic.
I didn't think you were until you said that.
Everything I say is totally honest to you, Jesse. Everything I've ever said, you should take at face value.
Huh. Okay. You've said some fucked up things.
And I meant them.
Okay.
That's my main one. I don't think I have any bad ones this week.
The Vega.
No, I like what happens in Vega. That's very good.
I'm gonna let people catch up a little bit. There's the Vega Chronicles. It's interesting. I actually have no idea what that's referencing, but I bet it's good. It's
The Chronic What Coals of Vega.
what?
Totally.
Rainbow Six Vega.
I will say while we were waiting for some
Contact my wormhole.
contact my wormhole, very good.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vega. Classic.
While we were waiting for some ideas to roll in, something that I do feel in many movies, and like we've talked about it quite a bit with this one because it is a prime offender, is like when people are reunited with loved ones as ghosts or aliens or visions or whatever, especially parents, it's always a little. It's like not like how people act with their parents, even if you hadn't seen them for 25 years. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That's one of those tropes that I like if it was my turn to write one, I would really be trying to pay attention to like trying to nail it and be feeling like it hasn't been nailed quite yet.
Yeah. What did
You know what I
did so she sees him sort of like walking down the beach toward her, and then he gets there and do they embrace? They like
No,
what do they do?
no, because she's like in shock. So I get, but I don't know. The
And she like
embracing and the petting of the hair, it all is very strange. And I
Yeah.
do feel that I have the, you know, like there's weird things that you get to be like the unofficial expert on because you just know a lot. I like Ellie and the children of two dead parents, and I'm not letting my dad caress my hair if I meet him in space. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'd that doesn't seem like it's something you did when you greeted each other in life.
Exactly. So it's like it's gonna be the same, even if it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm meeting you in space. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna still keep it the way the relationship was.
Yeah. Gotta imagine I'd just be like, holy shit, Dad, and give him a dap first, just kind of feel it out a little bit.
Kinda, yeah.
Well,
I don't
and
know.
that's
one of those
that's like what I
things.
was saying, which is she very quickly deduces that it is not in fact her real dad, and that's why to then be like, oh, I don't know you at all, lick, kiss,
But you're touching my
caress.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're my real dad, who do my hands remind you of?
Your
Yeah.
mother.
Your mom? Damn, you got
Dad?
me.
I will
Yeah,
say,
exactly.
that is an interesting thing for him to say because the real dad only knew her as an 8, 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And so
little tiny
Yeah.
kid
they're
hands.
extrapolating from. Wait, from what? She has no memory of her mother. So what are they extrapolating?
She's never.
From? He's just.
You're right.
He's just
Big
saying
plot hole.
bullshit. He's just like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
your hands are probably
pulling
like
it
your
up.
mom's. I don't know. You don't know your mom. I don't know your mom. Nobody could prove me wrong.
That's why I'm saying like Jodie Foster's character seems so smart that and so logical that like I think she'd be like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why'd
Let's keep
you-
talking, but
is
maybe
that important?
turn into like I don't know, like fucking who was big in the 90s? Turn
Bill
into Bill
Clinton.
Clinton or something,
Oh,
man.
he's all over this
There
movie.
you go.
I was very surprised.
He is. Well,
He
what's interesting
a
is
co-star. Absolutely.
they originally wanted to cast an actual president, but then I guess it was Zemeckis saw like Clinton gave a speech about a Mars rover that had some like verbiage that just fit perfectly into the script. So he's like, we are keeping it. He said something about like sound in space, and he's like, this is going in. We're just gonna use clips.
Yeah. He was like, he just said the
It
Mars
looks good.
rover met its dad
Realistic.
and kissed it, and it was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Can I will recommend, I'm just recommending things now.
Recommend.
For a movie that nails the experience
Of being in space and
of
meeting
being
your dead dad.
of being in space and meeting your dad. No, of being a adult woman, young adult to adult woman, and having a dead mom, and having her weird friends treat you as their friend. You got to watch Mamma Mia 2. Here we go again.
Well, there you go. That's next stream.
Yo, it's first of all, love the movie, have never watched it without crying hysterically. But it really, really accurately nails the experience of how your mom's friends who you don't really know are like, my vagina's dry. And you're like, don't tell me that. I don't know you. Why are you talking to me like this? It's great. Really, like I said, I have to give props when I see it accurately represented in film. And that is one of the most accurate representations I've ever seen.
Of dry mother's friends' vaginas.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Cool. So typically we would sign off here. However, we usually like
We're going for another hour.
We have that thing. It's the rule. Once somebody mentions dry vaginas, that's when we should wrap up. But
I've really been the villain of this live stream, and I apologize for that.
why don't you go pee or something?
Yeah, I really do have to. I'm holding it.
You're so brave. I was going to say, since people are, what is even happening right now? Oh, okay, I thought somebody had just like hopped on the stream. It's like, what is this? Here's what we're gonna do. I think what we said we wanted to do offline was it's February, it's the month of love, and other things that are much more important. It's also Black History.
Lust,
Yeah,
for
isn't it Black
example.
History Month as well?
Yes, it
Yes.
is. Mhm.
So with those two guardrails in mind, somebody suggests some movies, a rom-com. I don't know, Django Unchained. I don't think that's probably the most helpful film in existence.
No.
But
How much if I've got much to say about that one?
I'm gonna give you guys like what 30. They're a little bit behind, so I'll give you what 30 seconds to come up with something. And you guys,
We're gonna sit here in silence for 30
what's
minutes.
a rom-com? What's your favorite rom-com? Jesse, go.
Yeah. What's something that really defines the genre for you?
I guess Moonstruck.
Yeah. I mean, that is not wrong. Like Moonstruck is like such a definitive entry into the genre.
We've got Sweet Home Alabama, The Land Before Time.
Oh, if you love Matthew McConaughey.
Well, is that the one where she gets? What's the one where she gets lost in where she lives in a Walmart forever?
Not Sweet Home
I know
Alabama.
it's not, but that's always the title that I think it's
Zombieland?
like Your Heart, or it's Natalie Portman and she lives in a Walmart. Are you familiar with this film? Where the Heart Is. I'm gonna throw that out there because I haven't seen it.
Why does she live in a
Because
Walmart?
it's cheap. She like hides there.
She like lives in the
No,
parking
she
lot.
like
Oh, she
she, like,
hides in it.
moves aside a bunch of boxes and builds like a rat hole.
Oh, it's fun.
Oh yeah, there's actually a weird little sci-fi short story about that got turned into a televised black and white musical with music and lyrics by Stephen Sondheim.
Love and
Yeah.
basketball. I've never heard of this.
Okay.
Australia.
Juno is a really good rom-com. That is a very interesting and unique
It
entry
is.
into the genre.
High
High
I'm gonna
fidelity.
throw "I Love You, Man" out there because
You
I
love
have
it?
really strong
Yeah.
feelings about it. I just saw it in theaters with my dad, and at the time, well, he's still my best friend. Devin, you're still my best friend. Sorry, I doubted us.
Whoa, drama.
And you know, it set a blueprint for the rest of our lives. Shh.
Somebody
Shout out
mentioned
to Devin's
Cable
new
Guy.
Child. He is 3 now. He's freaking needs to slow
Oh.
down. This is also an intervention.
Yeah, take it
podcast.
easy, kid.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Dan in real
So
life.
Cable Guy. I also meant to mention when I was looking
Oh,
at
yeah.
when I was looking out for movies that were inspired by this. For a minute, I thought maybe the Cable Guy, because there's that big climactic scene like on a big dish.
Yeah.
Gotta wonder.
He was at
this
the very
movie,
large array. Absolutely.
Ooh,
Yeah. This movie made dishes sexy.
Lars and the Real Girl. You guys seen that?
Oh, that would be a weird little foray.
sexy
That'd be
little-
fun.
Scott
That'd be a
Pilgrim.
sexy little code.
Someone said Scott Pilgrim versus the
That would be
World.
great too.
Possibly my all-time favorite movie.
Yeah, we were going to start with that one potentially for this whole series.
Yeah, I've got a really good guest for that one that we just got to schedule him, but maybe
Okay.
maybe we can get him on.
Oh my God, is it Michael Cera?
No,
Is
it's
it?
not quite.
Are you best friends with Michael Cera?
No, but I saw him on a bus once in LA. So
it?
yeah, I guess the
That's
answer
the
is yes.
same.
Scott.
Is it Scott Pilgrim?
All right, so I'm also just gonna sign off on this by saying we are not gonna do this every week. This is gonna be like maybe a monthly thing, just kind of at the end of the month.
Yeah.
But we do have an audio-only podcast that is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I think it's on Facebook because we want to partner with the worst people. So we're probably going to get it on Amazon Music or something. Whoever, just give us a Russian media state program. We're going to get on there if we can. But it's all over the place. We don't really know what it is yet. We talk about movies that presumably mean something to us. Or maybe they don't.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
and we dredge up old traumas. Honestly, the best episodes are when we focus on
Yeah,
past
stop
trauma.
talking about the movie entirely and just are like, I shit my pants in a blockbuster.
Yeah. That's true. That was really. Was that the last one?
Sorry, it was a Hollywood video. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. It's a Hollywood video.
Thank
It is
you,
now in
thank you.
anthropology, and I kind of want to go shit my pants there again.
Shit your pants in there. That'd be
Be
really
like, guys,
great. They would not know
this
what
is
to
going to be
do.
wild, but I came as a kid a lot. It used to be something different, but I did this thing. It's really stuck with me, and I just wanted to relive it. And I brought cameras. I'm on YouTube now.
It's like when
I
people
got
go visit, like knock on the door of their childhood homes, and they're like, "I know this is so weird, but I grew up here, and it's so nice to see another family living here. And I actually shit my pants in this bathroom. If you wouldn't mind, if I could just get in there and shit my pants
Just
again."
feel like I'm 11.
Allie, can I tell you my mom had an experience like that. She was home alone one time and a lady came and pulled that whole thing. It's like, "Hey, you still live here? Can I check it out?" And she basically took her on a ghost tour of our house. She was talking about all the
There are
different
ghosts in
ghosts.
your house.
Yeah, apparently. I've never seen them, but
Oh,
there's a
how
lot
have
to
we
unpack
never
there.
talked about this?
Save it for we're gonna save it for one of our
Like a
our
Halloween,
Halloween
yeah.
ghost movies.
Oh man, I love
Yeah.
ghosts. Guys, we could have been talking about ghosts in the chat this entire time. I would have ignored you
Yeah,
both.
ghosts are like a top 5 thing for me.
Is that
No,
true?
I don't care about ghosts at all.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I grew up
ew.
in fear of ghosts because my house is very, very old. So I don't have an affinity for them, but I've spent a lot of mental energy on ghosts.
Oh, cool.
Ugh.
That's great.
Sorry, I'm
All
so
right, I'm
mad
gonna
at
sign
you.
off
I'm just
because
like,
I don't know that
putting
we've
away.
done anything valuable this whole time. So,
Certainly.
Jesse, where can we find you besides right here, right now, because we're live?
Yeah, check me out on Twitter at Eisemann, Eisemann.
Allie?
I am also on Twitter. You can catch me at Miss Alice Nutting. That's MSALICENUTTING. Also, because this is live, I can finally actually say this. If you live in and or around New York, my musical improv team that I think is really fun is performing on Valentine's Day at 7:30 at
Hell yeah.
Asylum, Improv Asylum. So if you want a fun, cheap little Valentine thing to do, come see a musical improv show. Rumple Teaser Musical Improv.
Awesome.
Thank
They're
you.
great. Fantastic.
You can find me on Twitter at _J_breeding, and I live in Charlottesville, so
Come
Go
just
to
go
his
find his
house.
Like,
house. Yeah, find his house.
if you camp at a Taco Bell long enough, I will probably drive through.
That's a threat.
And other than that, I have a pre-written thing which says, please subscribe to the Cracked Movie Club on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, we also exist as a newsletter where you get a bunch of movie coverage and essays and crap like that. I think it's Villain Week this week, so we're talking about villains a lot, which is kind of fun. And, sign up
Fun.
for the newsletter at crack.com/movie club. And I assume this episode will end up on Spotify if it's at all functional, which it very
Yeah.
well
We
may
could have
not.
all been dressed up like villains for this, and we didn't do that. Why didn't we do that?
No, our synergy is way off. We're gonna fix that for Q2.
Yeah, Q2's looking for some real
Yeah.
synergy.
Or whatever. All right, that's it. Bye, everyone. Bye.
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 End stream.